Hello everyone, my name is Carlie Hamilton and today I'm going to show you how I'm going to prepare this book to become my newest art journal. I prefer to use old recycled books. One, because it's actually cheaper. I can get these from like a secondhand bookshop for $1, or if like this one was a good quality one, so it might have even been like a couple of dollars, but that's still way cheaper than it is to buy a sketchbook or an art journal book for new at the store. So that's one reason why I prefer to use these books. Also, I feel like it's not wasting these books. These books are old books that no one really wants anymore. And it's kind of cool to use like these old hard cover books for art journals. I just find it really fun. It also gets my like creative juices going, because like a lot of the pages aren't your typical blank canvas. I know sometimes a blank canvas can be one of the scariest things to actually start, but by having some sort of background already going, it can be a really great motivator to get going. So the things I look for when selecting a book to become a art journal, I like hardcover books just because I feel like the book itself is going to be a bit more protected with a hardcover. Another thing to look for is Sounion Pages. This one I picked it up because it's got that little bit of I don't know if it's going to focus, but it's got a little bit of material in there, and so I picked it up thinking this was a sewn book, but looking at it a bit more closely, I can see now it's actually being glued. The pages have been glued onto that little fabric bit, but that doesn't matter. Sewn pages are going to be a little bit more sturdier. It's going to keep the book together a bit more better. But if you can't get sewn pages, or if you mistakenly pick up a glued book like this, then it doesn't matter so much. Another thing to look for as well, it doesn't matter, again, this one thing that doesn't matter quite as much is but the thickness of the page, because if you get a book that has super thin pages, by the time you add any medium onto it, it's gonna like ripple and or maybe go through the page. So these pages here are they're not super thin, but they're not super thick either. So one of the things you can do is glue pages together and add things like gesso onto the pages, and that will help strengthen them a bit more too. So yeah, they're the kind of things that I look for when I'm selecting a book. I really like this book because it's an old school Wikipedia. And number 3 is my favorite number, so I picked up this one because of that. So the first thing you need to do, the first thing I do is I pretty much get rid of almost half or more of the pages in the book. The reason for this is because once you start adding things to your pages, your book starts going like this. It starts getting fat. So if you start with less pages, your book might end up being flush like this at the end. It also makes it less overwhelming because this book, this book has 448 pages. That's a lot of artwork. Some prolific people might get through that really quickly. But if I have less pages, I'm more likely to finish the book and feel good and accomplished about myself. So yeah, one thing you can do if you got like Sounion pages is you can just rip out the pages, because the sewn binding helps like keep it all together. This one here is because it's glued in. I'm thinking I'm going to use my little Stanley knife and a ruler, and I'm going to cut out some of the pages, just because I feel like if I'm ripping out the pages, I might just like wreck the glue and make the whole book fall apart. So I'm thinking that if I cut the pages, it's going to be less likely to fall to bits. Okay, so I've done a little tiny bit of the book. So you can sort of see there where I've started taking out chunks of pages. I've only done that much. And what I usually do as well when I've gone through the whole book is I usually go through it again and actually take out even more, so that, yeah, because I often like underdo it at the start. So I go back and do it all again. I kind of find the process really relaxing, actually, and I usually watch, I will be watching something on YouTube or something while I'm doing it, so it's not completely boring. Here's all the pages that I've ripped out, and I keep these and end up with quite a collection, but I find that these are really good for when you're doing some kind of collaging, like even just like text pages I find great. Photos I don't use as much, but I also like purposely cut out the whole Australia. This one has Australia in it, and I'm from Australia, so I thought, oh, that's cool, I could use that in some kind of like, collage project background, I don't know, something. But yeah, I thought that was kind of cool, so I kept the Australia. So the next step after I've done all this, you can do, like, I do a variety of things depending on my mood. One thing that I like to do is to get masking tape, or like an old washi tape that you might not like anymore, and I sort of put it down the center. For the cut, like, it hides this extra bit, and like if you're super careful, which I'm not, you could be cutting this closer into the center as well. But yeah, that will get rid of this little overhang bit, but it also can also helps, like if you're using lots of paint and stuff and it all starts seeping into the center here, it can like start pulling apart your bindings and stuff like that. So it helps strengthen the book. Another thing you can do to help strengthen the book is to get like a glue stick, so it's not like a runny glue, and just get your glue stick and then glue these pages together, so that gets rid of this little bit in the center as well. And another like benefit of doing this is that it strengthens the pages. So you've got like two pages glued together, you've got a double the strength, I can't think of the word I'm trying to find, of the page, and that way if you're using things like paint and stuff, it's got to go through two pages now instead of just the one. And you can also glue another page together, so you got thicker pages. So if you're using wetter mediums on your pages, it's less likely to warp the pages. For me, myself personally, like, I don't want to have super wrinkly pages, but I don't mind having wrinkly pages in my art journals. I think it sort of brings a little bit of charm to having like an altered book, to have your artwork in there with wrinkled pages. So I don't mind so much, but at the same time, it's good to have thicker pages. And I didn't glue that one down very flat, so I'll redo that one. Also, I grabbed the first page that has a bit of it's attached to this page here, which you can't see. See how that one's attached a bit more inwards. That wasn't the best example, but I'll glue that one down a bit better. So that's what I do next after I've finished that. Okay, I've finished ripping out half the pages, and you can see now that the spine of the book, this side is much thinner than the other side. So once I've started using it, it should fatten out a bit and become more flush again. So that is how I prepare a book for an art journal. So stay tuned for more videos. I'm going to do some videos about the next steps I take in creating an art journal, and I also plan on doing some process videos so you can see my art journal pages come to life. I'm not really big on I'm not really fussed about making them really beautiful works of art. It's more, for me, it's more of a process of creating and being creative, not making it the most awesomest thing ever, but just the actual act of doing it. I find that really soothing, so that's why I'm going to be doing some art journaling. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, bye.